It's time for an epic showdown between bad guy vs good guy, the dark side vs the light side, supervillain vs superhero. And here comes the first challenger, Karen the entitled mother with her coach, the entitled angel child sitting on the sidelines, cheering her on. Who will she face today? In round 1 we have a shopper struggling with a cold, who is unexpectedly attacked by an entitled parent. What will Karen try to destroy that endangers this shopper's life? Round 2. This teenager is pestered by an entitled angel child, who doesn't understand the value of other people's possessions. What the entitled kid does next causes this teenager to break down in tears. And in round 3, the most epic battle yet, a VoiceyHere veteran takes on Karen in the fight of their life. What prize are they fighting over, and who will win? You'll only find out by watching this episode of VoiceyHere's Entitled Parents. This story was called Idiot EM Thinks I'm Taking Drugs, Breaks My Inhaler. The background: I have asthma, so I keep an inhaler on me most of the time. This incident happened about a month ago, and I decided it was time to post it. I'm at an undisclosed store to get some groceries while my mum sat in the car. I go through my routine, go in on Friday, get bread, go get milk and eggs, maybe cheese, circle for freezer, get whatever the heck seems necessary, and everything is well and fine, until I'm in the freezer aisle. Since I was a bit sick that day, I had a bad cough, which meant possible asthma attack, so I had my meds at the ready. To no one's surprise, as I began to have a really bad coughing fit, my asthma triggers. I couldn't breathe and was choking on any air that could get in. So I grabbed my inhaler from my breast pocket. Tip: keep your inhaler in an easy to reach place. I go to puff it. Enter entitled mum. Before this, I saw EM on the other end of the aisle with her son. I didn't make note of her because she looked like a normal person. Nothing of interest other than her nails. Crappy person, very pretty nails. I wonder where she got them done. Now, EM was smacking my inhaler out of my hands.
How dare you take drugs in front of my son?
Her child, from what I could see, didn't even notice anything until his mother started to screech like a banshee. This woman continues to yell about how I'm endangering her baby and going to persuade him into becoming a drug addict, all while I'm trying not to faint from lack of air and find my inhaler. And as this bee of a woman was wailing on me, in comes my savior. Poor kid was skirting around his mother, and in his hands were my meds. He was about 7, so I think he knew what emergency medication looks like. PK, the smart little guy, handed me my inhaler, in front of his darn mother, to which I took the biggest freaking puff I ever had. My lungs start to let air back in after a moment, and this woman looks like she's about to go off at me and her son. An employee had rushed to the aisle, from what I assume was a random shopper going to get her, and she said immediately as she ran to me, "Sir, you okay? What's going on here?" "I'm fine."
"This man just took drugs in this store."
"Sir, is this true?" I show her my inhaler and tell her that I have bad asthma. She nods and asks EM why she thought I was doing drugs.
"It is drugs, look!"
EM snatched the inhaler again and took the bottle from the freaking spacer and showed it in full to the woman. "Ma'am, that is this young man's prescription for asthma." EM is suddenly white in the face, looking from the meds to me and back. She suddenly drops the spacer and the bottle and takes off running with PK. We didn't pursue her, but I didn't see her after that. I was able to get enough air to complete my shopping and the employee gave me a coupon. Very sweet of them. My inhaler now has multiple chips in the spacer, and the bottle's fluid leaked, so I have to get a new one, unfortunately. What an idiot woman. Don't know how she raised such a smart kid. I was gonna say maybe the intelligence came from nature rather than nurture. Well, if that was the case, it definitely wasn't her genes. If you actually thought someone was doing drugs in a grocery store, wouldn't you feel really uncomfortable being so confrontational? Wouldn't you, as they so much love to do, go speak to the manager? And why on earth would you want to snatch the drugs out of their hands? You don't even know what it is. It makes me think that these entitled parents must have lived such an isolated life that they've never met someone with asthma before. Maybe if they grew up isolated from the world, and this is the way they're gonna behave, perhaps isolated is the way they should have stayed. This story was called Entitled Kids Breaks HTC Vive Controller in Half. Entitled Mum Refuses to Pay. A week before Easter we usually do a dinner in my house where we invite me and my sister's grandparents and their families along with the kids. My parents are the godparents. I am by far the oldest one, 18, and then my sister is at 14. After that it's 12 and under, so I don't really have anything to do with them, and that's why I hang out with the parents. The way the conversation was going, I started talking about VR and how realistic it is while I was talking. My godmother's son, who is 9 years old, approaches the table. I'll refer to him as EB.
What is VR?
It is a headset that you put on your head, and it looks like you're in a different place.
Wow, cool. Can I try it?
I'm sorry, but no.
Why not?
Because you're too young for this. EB starts talking louder.
But I want to try it.
Entitled Mum from the other side of the table gets up and approaches EB.
What is wrong, sweetie? I want to play VR, but he doesn't let me.
EM looks at me.
Why don't you let him?
Me kinda agitated, but I try and hide it because the equipment is extremely expensive. HTC Vive with the deluxe audio strap and the TP-Cast wireless receiver overall cost €1,050. And he is too young to handle it properly.
Oh, come on. He is very mature for his age.
Me flashback from last year where EB was purposefully spilling grape juice on the carpet and then laughing. When we noticed, it was too late. I still don't want to risk it.
Why are you so protective over some toy?
Calling expensive gaming equipment as toys is like a trigger phrase, and it really kicks up my anger. VR is way too expensive to be a simple toy, and now my mum notices something was up and approaches.
What's wrong? Your son won't allow my kid to play with his VR.
Mum, wanting to be a nice house guest, asks me, "Can you let him play for just 5 minutes?" I realize the odds are against me, so I give up. I let EB wear VR, and I play a small experience for showcasing VR where he just watches. Midway through the experience, he removes the headset from his head and says,
"Next!"
Sorry, but that's it.
But the 5 minutes aren't over. I want more.
I started scrolling through my library to see if there's anything else. While scrolling, he noticed Fruit Ninja VR. This is where things start going south.
I have that on my iPad. I want to play that.
Sorry, but it's too hard for you.
No, it isn't. I'm very good on the iPad.
It's different here. Then EB screamed,
"Mom!"
so loud that its sound waves were recorded by those whale mics in Antarctica. She storms into my room thinking something bad happened.
What? I want to play Fruit Ninja in VR.
EM looks at me.
Come on, please let him. I guarantee nothing bad will happen.
Fine. I proceed to give him the controllers and then wear him the straps, but he refuses to wear them. You either wear them or you don't play.
Fine.
I turn to the computer to open Fruit Ninja, but while I was doing that, EB removes the straps since I wasn't looking. I feel like a fool for not noticing. He plays for like 2 minutes and then he attempts to slice a fruit, but his hand hits the desk. All the VR veterans out there knows that this hurts like a bee even though it doesn't cause anything severe. He screams in pain and his reflexes made him throw the controller. I see it fly for 3 meters until it falls to the ground and breaks in two. The ring with the sensors and the handle. The noise was enough to make both my mother and EM storm into the room. They see EB crying, 2 halves of a controller on the ground, and me trying to help the EB stop crying. After all 3 of us calm him down, he goes and plays with the other kids like nothing happened. Then just me, EM and my mum were in the room. "So how much will it cost to repair it?" Me being extremely ticked off but trying to hide it. It's broken in half, so it would be extremely expensive. It could cost as much as a new one, which is around €150. EM looks at me in disbelief.
"Oh no, I'm really sorry. Hopefully you'll have enough money to pay."
I was shocked. She was expecting me to pay. My face began getting red. I was about to start cursing at her. My mum noticed it and jumped in. "Why should we have to pay? It was your son that broke it."
"Yeah, but your son allowed him to play the game, and it is your son's toy."
This was it. I blew up. "Now listen here, you..." My mum stops me. "It's okay, I'll handle this." She grabs EM's hand and leaves the room, and goes to the kitchen. This is how the conversation went according to my mum. "Are you hearing yourself, EM?"
"Very clearly. Why should I pay for the controller? It belongs to your son."
"But your son was the one that broke it."
"Your son needs to show some respect to my house guest. He was about to attack me."
I can't say she is entirely wrong. My son had to put up with your son, who wasn't able to take no for an answer. And look where that led him. I am sorry, but he did warn you, and now you should pay the consequences.
"I don't have to pay for the consequences of your son's actions. We are leaving."
EM proceeds to go to EB and tells him to wear his shoes and leave. At the door, my mum says, "I'll send you the bill," and then she closes the door. That's basically it. For anyone wondering, no, she never paid it. The money went out of my pocket, even though my mum tried to pay because she took her side at the beginning, but I declined. It's easy to just assume that a kid is going to be stupid and do stupid stuff like that, but the reality is you can teach kids personal responsibility from a very young age, and this entitled kid was just being careless. There was something he wanted and he didn't care about anyone or anything else. Entitled parents raise entitled kids, and those entitled kids then in turn become choosing beggars, Karens, and yes, eventually entitled parents themselves. When will this cycle ever end? This fan-submitted story was called Entitled Mom Tries to Fight Me in a Toy Shop. The backstory. I'm an avid My Little Pony collector. Don't judge, okay? We all bleed red, we are all equals. It was a school trip to a massive shopping center as an end-of-term treat. My friend and I were just looking around and she ducked into a toy shop to get some foam to fiddle with. She came back out and asked if I had the red pony. I knew which one she meant. It was very elusive in the UK. £10.99 on eBay. Heck nah. So we headed in to purchase it. £3.99 on sale. 5-star rating for you, toy store. There was rows and rows of ponies, but only one of that one. There was only one left on the shelf, near the bottom, and my friend reached down to get it, as she is shorter than me and my legs really hurt if I bend down that low. Just as she plucks it from the shelf, we hear a thundering, "How dare you!" Karen and her sweet little girl are standing next to us. Karen looking daggers. I'm sorry, have we done something? I was very nervous. I'm not good socially, my friend could tell. My daughter wanted that toy! No, I don't think she did, miss. Her little girl was picking up the pony next to where we had got ours from. Pinkie Pie, the most popular character. EM ignores her. I take a deep breath. Miss, this is an extremely rare figure for this area of the world. Your little girl is barely 4 and could not care less about value. She only wants enjoyment out of her possessions. My daughter wanted that toy! I was in stunned silence. EM then tries to grab it out of my friend's hands. Friend panics and throws it to me. I do what I could only think to do. Hold it up high above her head. Please note, this woman only came up to my nose. I am very tall for my age. I was 13 or 14 the next day at the time. My friend came up to my eyebrows, in case you'll want to visualize the scene. The kid is looking quite scared now, so my friend smiles at her and says, "Don't worry, sweetie, just a minute," then goes back to trying to help me. And then, joy of joys, one of our teachers enters the store to buy a pony for her daughter. She takes in the scene immediately. What is going on? We wanted to buy this pony, but this woman is trying to take it away. My daughter wants that toy. It's okay, mommy. You can stop now. The calm way she said this almost made me lose it with laughter. No! Mademoiselle? She's French. Go on, try the accent. Okay, I'll try. Do you want me to alert the cashier? EM goes pale. She stops trying to grab the pony from my grasp. She was losing anyway. No, that won't be necessary. Come on kid, let's get you your pretty pony. They go up to the till and pay. Then as they leave, Karen gives me a wondrous dirty glare. Well, now that is all over, what one should I get for my daughter? She is 11, a collector like you. Believe it or not, after a little rummaging around, we actually found another one, and my teacher bought it for her little girl. After the whole debacle, F and I actually found it hilarious and laughed all the way on the bus ride home. I can imagine the sight of a short woman trying to grab a toy out of the lanky 13-year-old's grasp quite amusing, and I can't get the image out of my mind. I only hope she changes her mannerisms, as her little girl truly seemed like a sweet little kid. Thanks for reading, y'all. In English among Scots. Now, I don't personally get the whole My Little Pony thing, but I can understand if it's a show that you have a really strong connection with, why the collectibles can be so important. It's just sad that for the mother, she was using her daughter as an excuse to get the more expensive collectible. Like, if you're at the store for your daughter, just be there for her. This story was called EM Tells My Husband Not to Order for Me, or for me to use sign language. Here's a little history of me so this makes more sense. I'm non-verbal due to an injury and communicate exclusively via writing and sign language, unless I want to feel like I'm pouring half-molten nails down my throat. In the story is my husband, entitled mother, and poor kid. I love eating at restaurants. Denny's, Applebee's, little family-owned Mexican and Chinese places, etc. With that means I gotta get my food, which my husband typically orders for me to avoid me playing a game of charades with the waiter or waitress. We were eating out and apparently this was wrong. So we were getting our food and this little kid near us, maybe 8 or 9, was watching us since the restaurant was fairly empty. Right after the server leaves, the kid can audibly be heard speaking with his mother, a woman probably in her mid to late 40s.
Mommy, what about her?
She wasn't paying attention, I'd assume.
What was that poor kid? He ordered for the both of them. Wait, what? The girl didn't talk to him. That's not right. Let's go see if there's a reason, PK.
At this point, she takes a few steps over toward us, PK in tow.
Hi, you two.
Hello?
Who is this?
She motions towards me.
Your girlfriend?
Close enough. Do you need something?
Do you do that often?
Do what often?
Order for her.
All the time?
Could you please stop that?
I'd rather not.
I'm asking nicely. Can she not talk?
Basically, EM cuts him off.
Just don't do it again. I don't want my kid to grow up to be some barbarian.
No, feel free to leave us alone. She leaves with a huff and that seemed to be it for the night at first. As we got our food, we started talking, signing, both clearly a little confused about what this strange woman's issue was. Now, when I'm saying crazy in sign language, I use the ever-known finger pointing to head crazy, which I happened to start using right as she reapproached us.
What are you two doing?
Please go away, ma'am.
I'm not gonna let you teach my kid gang signs, so stop it.
We're not teaching anything, it's
I don't care what it is, stop it. Just talk like normal people.
She physically put air quotes on the word talk, classy. She soon walked away and we continued our conversation with her angrily staring at us and trying to shield her kid from the terrific gang signs up until they left. On behalf of all people who don't talk, I'd like to apologize for encouraging gang culture. Technically, all human action is rational, because everything you do is for a reason. Now, just because something is rational doesn't mean it makes sense. For this entitled mother, it seemed totally irrational why she wanted them to stop doing sign language. But from her perspective, apparently they were doing gang signs. And she was just trying to protect her child. So the problem isn't that she's acting irrationally. The problem is she doesn't have the social capability of determining what action they're actually taking in the first place. That they're not engaging in some sort of gang culture, but they're just speaking in sign language out of a medical necessity. So if you encounter an entitled person and they seem completely irrational, it's more than likely that the judgment they've made about you is completely wrong. That's not a defense or an excuse for their behavior, it's still messed up. But if you have the slightest chance of correcting their view, maybe they'll leave you alone. Yeah, maybe. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.